Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the ADC YouTube channel. Today we're starting something brand new. It is our Force on Force lessons. This is video 1. Basically, these are clips taken from our Force on Force course called Reactive Handgun Foundation. If you want to know more about that, there is a link down below, and the dates for that class coming up, you can sign up for it. But essentially, it's our concealed carry Force on Force class. Every single one of our instructors and students that go through this class are equipped with GoPro cameras. This is so we can feed back the footage to the student to review, break down, improve upon, and ultimately take home with them, whether that be just for fun, whether that be so they can show family members and friends or other instructors, or just review to remind themselves of where they came from, where they ended up, and where they could be. So how this is going to go down is we're going to show you the video in its entirety first to give you complete context of the scenario and what happened. And then we're going to rewind it, break it down at the most significant events, and talk about the mistakes that were made and the successes that were made, what could be done better, and what could possibly happen after that altercation. What we want you as the viewer to do is open a discussion about what you saw. There may be things we don't even mention in the video that you notice. Put yourself in the teacher's seat, because now you're teaching everybody else that is viewing. Talk about something that you can relate to. If you were in a similar situation, talk about it. If the scenario we're presenting is something you've actually been through personally, you probably have a lot to offer to the rest of the viewers, and maybe even us. So I encourage you to post it up, talk about it, and teach. All right, I think I've talked long enough. Let's go ahead and just get started, dive right in. Video number 1, here we go.
Let's go, man.
Hey, what's up, man?
Out here?
I'm just trying to get in my car.
It's a nice fucking jacket, though. I like that shit.
Oh, you do? Hey,
What'd you get?
man, I don't know the problems, man.
Get this shit, huh?
Hey, man.
What's up, bro? Hey, why are you here, man?
Hey, man.
Why are you here? Why are you here, man? Hey, come on, man.
Hey, man. Hey, guys, what do you want? What do you want? You want money? You want money?
Fuck out. Keep fighting, keep fighting, keep fighting. You shot that guy in the back. Keep fighting, keep fighting.
Hey, get it! Drop the gun! Drop the gun! Drop it! Drop the gun! Drop the gun!
In there. Make weapons safe.
Good to go. You all right?
Yeah.
All right, so that escalated pretty quickly, and there is a good reason for that. The student featured in this clip is previously trained and currently active duty military, so we wanted to push his boundaries early on in his first scenario. As you can tell, the first assailant is already making physical contact and is within range to use an impact weapon, his own body, or a bladed weapon. The student quickly becomes surrounded by people from all sides, and he's having to put his back to where there are no people. So he's constantly turning, he's constantly looking, and he's trying to find a way out. In this specific scenario, the students have to walk a straight line. They can't go back the way they came, and they can't go through the side where the practice range is. They have to go through the woods. All right, so here's where things start getting interesting. This role player begins to reach for the back of his waistband, which signals the student to also start reaching for his weapon. But he starts noticing that there are multiple people with firearms, and there's also people behind him. Keep in mind that the GoPro is affixed to his head, so it sees what he sees. He ends up incapacitating the second subject on the left and wounding the first subject that pulled the firearm first. Notice as the student retreats for cover and to reload his weapon, he's forgotten that there's somebody behind him. This is why scanning and assessing is so important. I know that a lot of people kind of make fun of it at the range because it looks very tactical, but this is a live, unscripted reason of why scanning, searching, and assessing is very important, and you're going to see why in just a second. Boom. Stabbed right in the back of the neck and I believe the shoulder multiple times. He didn't see that coming because he didn't search and assess, he didn't look behind him, and he was tunnel visioned on the two individuals with firearms in front of him. And from my understanding, he was actually trained to search and assess previously, but again, stress inoculation makes you forget things that you haven't programmed into gross motor function yet. And that was something that he walked away with that day that he wanted to improve upon. So let's continue, let's see what happens now. This is something that could potentially come and bite him legally if this were a real situation. The knife wielder had turned his back and the student engaged him and shot him through the back. Technically, could he have still feared for his life given the proximity? Yes, but he is now going to be responsible for defending himself in court for that action. I'm not a lawyer and nobody with this company is, so I'm not going to give you legal advice on what you can and can't do, but these are some things to think about that might come back and bite you later on. Alright, so you can see that the second person he shot is incapacitated, but the very first person he engaged is still running around, still has a firearm, and they engage in a small firefight. The assailant has hidden behind some trees, and the student is trying to engage with him verbally and exchanges gunfire. As you notice near the end though, the student begins to check his ammunition while still in the open. The only time you should be checking your ammunition in such a manner is if you are behind concealment or cover, or if there's a lull in the gunfight. Otherwise, you should be running, you should be hiding, or you should be fighting. So real-life gun altercations don't last very long on average. This one was particularly long in terms of actual gunfights because the student had to deal with so many different people. But even still, it was less than a minute, probably only 45 seconds long. As you can hear though, the student's breathing pretty hard, and that's not due to any type of physical exertion. He's in pretty good shape and he didn't do a whole lot of cardio or running. That's going to be due to his body alarm response. His adrenaline is dumped, he's in a hyper-focused state of mind, and he's now coming down from it. This is the effect of stress-induced muscle memory programming. Really important stuff. There are many lessons that we could take away from this specific scenario, but the biggest one is the importance of scanning and assessing within a gunfight. I know, again, that we like to make fun of it and talk about how it's just people trying to be cool and that there is no real purpose to it, but this was an organic, unscripted situation where he received an injury, possibly a fatal injury, because he didn't scan and assess after shooting. I know it seems a little unfair that we were very aggressive with this student on his first go, but he totally redeems himself in a later scenario, which we are actually going to be showing next. So stay tuned to that. We were completely jaw-dropped by his reaction, and we think you guys are going to have a lot to say about it. Alright guys, that about sums up our very first Force on Force lesson. There are many more to come. We look forward to uploading all the other clips that we have and talking about it. If you have something that you saw in the video that you want to talk about, or a personal experience of yours that relates to it, please start a discussion down below. We want to hear it. Other people want to hear it. Be the teacher. We want to learn. You want to learn. Everybody wants to learn. Otherwise, stay safe out there. Please hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out and gears us up to upload more videos. And stay safe out there. We'll see you guys soon.